there's a few things you can do if you want to get 8 hours of quality sleep every night. And if you want to get a few more hours than that, that's fine as well. There's no problems. But if you can set these things up, your life's going to be better. You're going to sleep better. You're going to have so much more energy. You're going to deal with stress better. Totally worth it. So I got to read this one. Is the 10-3-2-1-0 rule, which means no caffeine 10 hours before bed, no food 3 hours before bed, no work 2 hours before bed, and no phone 1 hour before bed. But I would rather that the phone was off and not even close 2 or 3 hours beforehand. But hey, you've just got reality to deal with here, so you've got to be able to make it work. So caffeine, you should really be trying to finish that by lunchtime. You don't really need the energy boost from there, and frankly, if you can fuel your body up with the right sort of foods, especially having a good solid protein lunch, you're not necessarily going to need the caffeine anyway. A lot of the time that afternoon energy dip comes from not having enough protein to provide long-lasting energy through the afternoon anyway. And if you have way too much sugar or carbohydrate heavy lunch, then that's just going to kind of boost your energy for a little bit and cause a crash on the other side, and that's no good. So even worse if it is exacerbated by you adding some sugar on top of that as well, because that's only going to make things far more detrimental. If you can finish eating your dinner early, that's always going to be better. That means the body doesn't have to use its energy for digestion. It can do the majority of the digestion before you actually get to the bedroom, and then it can just go into rest and repair mode for the rest of the night, which will be ideal. No work 2 hours before bed. Hopefully you have stopped work well and truly before then. Sometimes night shift will not give you that sort of capability, but I would rather the brain is switched off and left at work so that you don't have to address anything. Now, I do understand that some people, especially those that work for themselves, may get last minute updates about where you need to be for work the next day, etc. But you need to be able to detach from work so that you're not even thinking about it, because thinking about work is a stress in itself. So if you have emails or phone calls, notifications coming through that are constantly dragging you back into that work brain, then that's never going to be any good. You don't want that. Finally, it was the phone. Ideally, you want to be able to try and put the phone away. If you're home, you don't necessarily need to be on your phone anymore, unless you're preparing to go out somewhere. But hey, if you can get everything done on your phone and then just turn it off, put it on flight mode, put it on charge, put it next to your bed, like somewhere that it's out of the way, that you're not looking at it, preferably not within arm's reach, because if it's within arm's reach, you're going to go and pick it up, and that constantly picking it up and looking at it is just pushing dopamine into your system and wiring your body up even more, and that's the last thing that you want. So get that stuck into your life, plug that in, that'll make a huge difference on its own. Next, make your room as dark as possible and cool. Cold, about 16 degrees Celsius, which is around 60 odd degrees Fahrenheit, seems to be the best apparently. So I actually find that to be true, that if it is 16 degrees or cooler when I go to bed, I will sleep far better. The colder it is, I wouldn't say the colder the better, but if it is a warm night, I find it so much more difficult to sleep, so I've found this rule to be fairly well true. In summertime, this can be obviously difficult if you've got to run air conditioning, and that's great. If you don't have air conditioning, it makes it more difficult. Otherwise, there are sleep beds or mattresses or covers for these mattresses that will circulate water that you can set to a particular temperature. You can even have them so that the temperature is set on one side of the bed for you and the other side of the bed for the other person who operates at a completely different temperature to you. So, oh, Lamborghini. Sorry, very distracted by exotic cars, especially Lambos. You can set the temperature up to different sides of the bed. So if your partner likes 16 degrees and you like 10 degrees, no problem, you can do it that way. Main thing is, make it cool and you should be sleeping a whole lot better. Oh, listen to that sound. That is just magnificent. The other side of that is dark room. So black everything out. Block out curtains, cover any LEDs so that no light is coming through. Everything should be off. You want pitch black is going to make it so much easier for you to sleep. It can be difficult to set up initially, but totally worth the time that it takes to do that. And you might find that every time you take something away, you find another light source that is getting in your way. The more you can address that, fix that, better your sleep's going to be, deeper your sleep is going to be. Nasal taping and mouth taping. So nasal taping is one that you'll see Alex Hormozi's popularized this, especially because he just wears them all the time in his interviews. So a little tape over the top of your nose there to help open up your nasal cavity so you can breathe deeper through your nose, get more oxygen in there. So certainly helps for those people who need it. The other one is mouth taping. Mouth taping just forces you to breathe through your nose. A lot of people are breathing through their mouth, and that is not ideal because your mouth does not have the same filtration system that your nose does. That's why you've got weird hairs growing all through your nose to be able to trap any of the dust particles and whatever else it can pick up along the way. So if you can train yourself into breathing through your nose, and it's going to make things a whole lot better. I did this when I first learned about it. I was 21 in one of the books that I read. So there was no talk of mouth taping or anything at the time. It was just learn to breathe through your nose at night. So over the course of, I don't know how long it took me, because like I'm talking 25 years ago now, I learned to breathe through my nose, and I predominantly breathe through my nose now. It's very rare that I'll breathe through my mouth. Unless I am operating at a high intensity exercise or something and I can't quite get enough volume through my nose. But nose breathing is absolutely beneficial. It will help your body to relax far more, filter all sorts of stuff. You won't get the dry mouth at the end of the night. Give it a go, totally worth it. Now, anchoring, light anchoring. So you notice the sun's only just come up, or coming up, so it is the morning. If you can get morning sunlight in your eyes, that helps you to anchor your circadian rhythm. So sunlight unfiltered by sunglasses. I do have my glasses on now, but I did not have them on for the first, I don't know how many hours of my day that I was up. And it's quite possible, but probably shouldn't be wearing sunglasses full stop. I'm light sensitive, so I'm just making the most of that for a little bit while I am kind of moving through things. But come summertime, that's one of the things I'll be trying to get rid of. But yes, morning sunlight in the eyes makes a huge difference. Morning sunlight on the skin makes a huge difference. Basically turning the receptors on, letting them know that it is the start of a new day, and that allows all your hormones to understand what's going on and communicate to each other in the ways that they need to. Same thing in the evening. If you can get to that same thing where you can get some evening sunlight in your eyes and on your skin, then that's going to be massively beneficial for you as well. You don't get the intensity of the UV rays at this time of day, morning or evening, so that's also extremely beneficial, because the more time in the sun, the more vitamin D you're able to collect. And it seems that these days it's not that easy to be able to collect vitamin D from the sun. A lot of people have lost their ability to do that. So I think that's another one of the suggestions about getting rid of the sunglasses, because there might be some interference in there, and basically if the sunglasses are on, the receptors are saying, oh, it's still nighttime, so not allowing the body to be able to absorb these things properly. Anyway, get your circadian rhythm set with the sun. That's going to make a huge difference. Also really important when you're traveling, if you get into a new time zone, best thing you can do is get outside in these times, anchor your body to the new circadian rhythm, and that'll allow you to be able to relax into the new time zone you're in and deal with jet lag a whole lot better. So, tracking it. You can use a sleep tracker if you want to. So that could be a wearable, maybe you're wearing a watch, or you use your phone to do these things. Tracking your sleep can track your sleep quality and sleep duration. Not a bad idea if you've been suffering from poor sleep, or you really just want to get a good idea of it. Not something I recommend for the long term though, because any of these wearable things, they will interfere with your sleep. They have technology built into them, and with technology you end up with EMF frequencies, radiation basically, so that will interfere with your sleep. But for a short time, it is a good idea to be able to do that. In terms of tracking, you don't have to use a sleep tracker though. You can just track it manually, and that's one of the things that I do, is tracking my bedtime and then my wake time, and I'll just do that morning and night, so I know exactly when I went to bed, when I woke up. And then if I had a bad sleep, I'll mark that on there somehow, because if I've had a bad sleep or a disrupted sleep, generally I can point that back to something in the day that I did or didn't do that has interfered with that. So that's it. If you can do those things, your sleep's going to get dramatically better. And I've done so many of these things and continue to work on it, and the more you work on it, the better it is, and when you neglect it, the worse it is. So that's that. Plug that into your sleep, get your sleep routine set up nicely, and get your sleep environment set up nicely, and you're going to feel a hell of a lot better every single day. Talk soon.